Hello everyone, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Was Trained by the Sith Lord, and this story is made by VFSNAKE, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
The spirit of Darth Plagueis the Wise cursed his treacherous student Darth Sidious for the man's betrayal and killing his master in his sleep. It was not something the moon had even expected from his Sith apprentice so soon, and yet that was probably the reason why Plagueis never saw it coming. It had infuriated the spirit of the Sith Lord to no end that he actually refused to become one with the Force like so many Sith and Jedi before him, like Sidious no doubt expected to happen. The plan the Sith Lord had been working on to create the perfect Force-attuned subject, who would be the perfect apprentice in Plagueis' mind to teach, and learn even greater secrets the Force kept locked away. His only real mistake was informing Sidious of his plan to create such a person using the dark side to manipulate the midi-chlorians to form such an individual. In fact, Plagueis had been in deep mediation when his apprentice struck, as he was in the final stages of such a child being created in the womb of an untouched woman, who the Sith Lord suspected had to be untouched by another in order for the midi-chlorians to create such a child. While Sidious was taught how to manipulate the midi-chlorians, the Sith apprentice, now master in accordance with the rule of two, did not possess the necessary skill to do it himself, and would not be able to duplicate the process. Still, it didn't mean Sidious could not find the child once born, and use for his own means to continue the Sith way. Plagueis had surmised that Sidious would try to find the child in the future, as a way to spite his former master, and further cut ties between them like all Sith apprentices did their masters when they became the master. However, Darth Plagueis wasn't about to go quietly like his foolish apprentice thought he would, and moved quickly to the nearby planet below his ship just before Sidious took control of it. Plagueis had seen through his spirit form how Sidious had destroyed his still strong moon body with Sith lightning before throwing it out the airlock to burn up in the planet's atmosphere. As for the spirit of the Sith Lord, he knew it was only a matter of time before he would become one with Force, and that was not something Plagueis wanted any time soon. The only way the Sith Lord could continue existing was to inhabit a body strong in the Force, or at least had potential to become strong in the Force with enough training. Plagueis had known possessing Sidious was out of the question, as his student had become too strong in the dark side to turn, and only hasten the Sith Lord into a true death. Again, it wasn't something Plagueis wanted, and he wasn't foolish enough to try given the fact Sidious basically knew everything he knew. Though it didn't mean Sidious knew how to use everything taught to him by Plagueis. Traveling down to the planet, Plagueis found himself in a primitive world with not much technological wonder, but with plenty of human life, yet each one weak in the Force, or with no Force potential at all. It was silently infuriating to the Sith Lord that this would be his reward for training Sidious and the Force itself, stranding his spirit here on a planet where the Force was not strong enough to give him a potential host. Until he stumbled upon something interesting in a forest area being drenched in heavy rainfall and sensed his search for a host body was coming to an end. The potential host in question was the form of a small human child, possibly 6 standard years old, crying his eyes out over something, and was a bit malnourished from the fact the boy was skinner than he should be at his age. Lousy people. Hating me. Calling me a demon. It's not fair. Why am I hated by them? Why? Said the boy with blonde hair and blue eyes that had an intensity to them. Interesting. I think I should investigate this boy's potential, thought Plagueis, as he had moved closer to the boy, and sensed the Force was strong in him compared to the other candidates he had seen. Upon entering the boy's body, the Sith Lord soon found himself within the child's mind, which looked damp like a sewer with red pipes mixing with blue ones all around him, the massive walls. The stench from the smell of it all made the swamp regions of Nalhutta seem pleasant, and the Sith Lord had to use his powers to enhance his sight to see through the infinite darkness that surrounded him. The water rippled when he moved in his now solid body, as he found the Force was strong enough in here to give him a stronger form, and knew this boy would be his chosen vessel. However, that line of thought ended when a growl was heard behind him from a large animal, and the vile energy the Sith Lord sensed from the large creature made him turn to face it. What are you doing here in my vessel's mind, insect? You are not welcome here, said the animal, which the Sith Lord had determined was a vulpine-class creature, and had 9 swishing tails with crimson eyes glaring at him. Your vessel. You are mistaken. This boy is to become my new host, said Plagueis, with the vulpine creature becoming increasingly angry by this news. Be gone. This is my vessel and I will not have some strange creature like you take what is mine to manipulate, said QB before he charged the Sith Lord, and Plagueis moved nimbly out of way of the vulpine now attempting to maim him. Plagueis countered with the force, pushing the QB back, but all it did was stall the fox from achieving its goal, and the Sith Lord knew it would only be a matter of time before the vulpine creature overpowered him. Reaching out to the force for an answer to this problem, the Sith Lord looked quickly to his right, seeing what possibly looked like a doorway of that was shut, but had bars for doors, and given his own body structure could slip between the bars to escape. The QB sensed Darth Plagueis's plan seconds before the Sith Lord ran for the door and moved to intercept the moon to prevent the intruder from escaping. Using the force to accelerate his speed, Plagueis knew this was going to close, as he would either escape this prison, or be a temporary roommate to its current occupant. I only have one chance at this, thought Darth Plagueis, as he leaped forward, using the force to jump much farther than someone of his species ever could, and managed to get through the bars to the other side while QB's claws barely missed him. You will not get away with this, said QB, howling in rage at this intruder. I already have vulpine creature. Though you being in this boy is a curiosity to me, said Plagueis, turning around, the swishing of his Sith robe echoing through the large area, and seeing the red eyes filled with hate from the QB aimed at him. You are not human, and yet, you wield a power not unlike the Sage of Six Paths did all those years ago, said QB, seeing Plagueis frown at him from behind his hood. Sage of Six Paths. Never heard of him, said Plagueis, with QB frowning at the Sith Lord now. Really? That is surprising. From what I recall, he was a lot like you, only his power wasn't so dark, and he was much more noble, said QB, seeing Plagueis frown even further. This Sage of Six Paths sounds like a Jedi, said Plagueis, with the QB now leaning down with its face in front of the cage. You make it sound like this potential Jedi was your opposite, said QB, intrigued by this development. If he was a Jedi, then yes, Vulpine 1, the man was in fact my opposite, and we would have been enemies, said Plagueis, with the QB laughing slightly. If the Sage of the Six Paths was in fact a Jedi, then who are you, and what is your exact title? Said QB with a smile on its face. I am Darth Plagueis, Dark Lord of the Sith, said Plagueis, bowing slightly in front of the fox. Ah, opposite indeed. Why the sudden interest in my vessel? Said QB, as the Sith Lord looked around the area that was Naruto's mind, and was clearly not impressed by the scenery. I need him in order to survive and cheat death, if only for a time, said Plagueis before telling the QB his tale about the Force, Sidious being his apprentice, and the betrayal of that apprentice killing him while he slept, leading to this point in time. Ah, not the death you were hoping for. Still, at least you entered here by choice. I was put here against my will after being sealed away 2 times previously, and in this one's own family no less, said QB before explaining the history of the world from the Sage of Six Paths to Chakra, the forming of the tailed beasts, and the Jinchuriki of the elemental countries that were hated by the very creators while being used as weapons of war. Interesting. A Jedi came to this world, discovered the 10-tailed demon, fought it with all his power of the Force, and somehow managed to seal it into himself. No doubt he tried to share his knowledge of the Force with the people of this world, but it changed into this chakra, and thus became a warped version of it. That is what I sensed from the people of this world when I came down here and saw so little potential in the people when I was looking for a host. Still, it doesn't fully explain how this child has the potential to use the Force and chakra at the same time, said Plagueis, with his mind trying to figure it out. I think I know, said QB at last, with the Sith Lord turning to face him. How? Said Plagueis before QB merely smiled. Use your power to check the boy's lineage. I think the answer will become clear upon learning just who he's descended from, said QB, with Plagueis closing his eyes for a second and reached out through the Force to scan the boy's genetic makeup passed down from parent to child. Until finally, Plagueis saw it. Impossible. The boy is, said Plagueis before looking at the grinning QB. Yes, the boy is a direct bloodline descendant of the Sage of Six Paths. The Jedi, who first came to this world, and became the very first Jinchuriki, said QB, seeing the Sith Lord's mind moving miles a minute at this latest development. Of course, it makes sense this boy's Force potential would be the highest of the people of this world. However, it is wasted here in this village from what you've explained with the abuse he suffered, and will continue to suffer if we don't act quickly, said Plagueis, with the fox nodding. What do you propose? said QB, seeing the Sith Lord smirk for a second behind his hooded Sith robes. Simple. We turn this weak boy that is your vessel into a Sith Lord of incredible power and have him become ruler of this world. He will become our true legacy, said Plagueis, knowing there was no way off the planet, so he might as well continue the legacy he had tried to continue with Sidious, and upon training his new apprentice correctly, leave to become one with the Force. I like the sound of that. I like that a lot, said QB before they began to formulate their plan to mold this boy into the world's future emperor. With Naruto felt himself getting sleepy, but fought against it so he could be alert for any kind of attack aimed at him, since it wasn't the first time that happened, and had developed an almost instinctual sixth sense when it came to being alert to danger. In fact, Naruto had a feeling about people since before he could walk, as he didn't trust what little food given to him to be healthy, or not poisoned by the people in the orphanage that had just recently kicked him out into this rainstorm. Lousy jerks. They'll get theirs when I become Hokage and I order them to do humiliating things like clean dirty toilets those fat guys from that one clan use near that barbecue place, thought Naruto, feeling his eyelids get heavier until finally the need to sleep won over the need to be alert. He's here, said QB, seeing the boy slowly get up from the water-covered ground that was his mind and look around. Where am I? Said Naruto, the cage with the fox behind it. In your mind, my vessel, said the QB, seeing the boy walk closer to the cage and stop suddenly before taking a step back just out of reach of the fox's claws. Something tells me I shouldn't move any closer, said Naruto before QB shot its claws forward and barely missed the boy. That something was correct. The Sith Lord was right. The Force is strong with you, said QB, with Naruto scratching his head in confusion. Sith Lord. The Force. What are you talking about? Who are you? What is going on? Said Naruto, with the QB laughing at him. You are a curious one. Always asking question, yet people never give you answers, and if they do, they are only lies. I sense you thirst for knowledge about yourself and other things beyond your current grasp, said QB, seeing Naruto frown at him. So what if I am? There is nothing wrong with wanting to learn stuff. And you didn't even answer my questions, said Naruto, seeing QB laugh again. Quite right. You're an observant boy. I'll give you that much. In case you can't tell, I am QB no Kitsune, and you, dear boy, are my vessel, said QB, seeing Naruto was shocked by this news. So that's why they hate me. That's why they call me a demon. Because of you, said Naruto, seeing the QB nod. They think I am you. Or is it they think you are me? Doesn't matter. What matters right now is your future, boy. Correction, our future, since our lives are tied together thanks to the Yondaime sealing me into you, and the Sandaime Hokage blabbing to the people about it, said QB, seeing Naruto look at him with surprise and shock. What? The old man told them. But, why tell them if they're just going to hate me? Why didn't he tell me from the start? Said Naruto, with the QB shrugging. Why indeed. You can ask him in the future should time permit it, but for now, my dear boy, such a question must be put on hold, and your attention refocused on the question of what you wish to do with your life, said QB, seeing the boy looked lost. I don't know. Everyone hates me. I can't go to the old man because of, well, you being in my body and him not telling me after all the stuff I went through. I basically have no one in the village I can turn to for help, said Naruto, with the fox nodding in agreement. True. Which is why you're not going to get help from anyone in the village, said QB, seeing Naruto once more looking at him. But, who will teach me then? Said Naruto, seeing the QB grin at him before looking over at the wall where Plagueis was watching the conversation between them. That my young apprentice would be me, said Plagueis, with Naruto screaming out in fright and turned to see the Sith Lord now standing a few feet from him. Who are you? Said Naruto, seeing the robed figure smirk slightly at him. I am Darth Plagueis. From this day forward until told otherwise, you, my dear boy, will be my student, and I will your teacher. When learning from me, you will address me as master, and I will address you as apprentice until the time is right for you to be given a Sith name, said Plagueis, seeing Naruto look at him with surprise. You're really going to teach me? Really? This isn't some cruel trick, right? Said Naruto, with QB shaking his head no to indicate it wasn't a cruel trick. No, this is not a trick. When a Sith Lord takes on a Sith apprentice, he makes sure that the apprentice has the potential to one day surpass the master, and you, Naruto, have that potential. When you aren't learning from me, QB here will teach you about chakra, and what you need to know about the world. When the time comes, I will ask you to complete a test that will determine if my time spent training you was worth the effort, or wasted on a weak spineless child, said Plagueis while sensing the boy was determined to prove him wrong. I'll prove myself worthy. Make no mistake, I'll pass whatever test you throw at me, and I'll be the best apprentice you've ever had, said Naruto, since he didn't realize the Sith were founded on the rule of two, or that Plagueis only had one other Sith apprentice. You have no idea just how right you are, my new apprentice. You have no idea, thought Plagueis while looking slightly over at Kyuubi, and the fox was already grinning an evil smile for the enemy that seemed to haunt the creature's mind. Whatever this enemy was, the Sith Lord knew that the Kyuubi would use this boy to kill that foe, and Plagueis would assist in that endeavor, since Vulpine creature's enemy was now theirs. I have a question, Master. How am I going to be trained without anyone knowing? The Hokage will suspect something after a while, said Naruto, seeing Plagueis smile at him. Leave that to me, child. For now, get some sleep, and tomorrow we will face this small problem together, said Plagueis, seeing Naruto nod, and went over to a more dry area of his mind to sleep. And for once wasn't facing horrible nightmares. He's right. The Hokage will be suspicious of him. Always has. Every cage in every village has a special viewing orb and can find people in it if they know who to look for within the village, said Kyuubi, having spent more than enough time in the wives of the previous Hokages of Konoha to know enough about what they have in their office. As I told the boy, my friend, we will deal with it tomorrow, and not a minute sooner, said Plagueis before deciding to explore the child's mind and see what else was here. Hokage Tower the next day. When Naruto woke up from his nap in the woods, the weather had cleared, and the only signs of the rainstorm hitting was the wet terrain around him. At first, the boy thought the whole thing that happened in meeting Kyuubi, then Darth Plagueis, was just a dream his mind thought up to combat the nightmares that normally haunted and destroyed all his peaceful dreams. However, the idea of being a dream was shattered by the voice of Darth Plagueis himself inside his head to end that line of thought, and was instructed by his new master, teacher, to head for the Hokage Tower where the Sandaime Hokage was residing. It wasn't easy to get there, given how the location Naruto was in had been on the far side of the village away from the actual structure, and then there was the people in the leaf to contend with, since they'd sooner be block his path than help him. Darth Plagueis knew this too, as he didn't need the Force to sense the hatred these people had for Naruto, and the boy wasn't even in their line of sight when sneaking to the tower. When Naruto did make to the tower, more importantly to the doors leading to the Hokage, the secretary was the only one capable of beeping him in, and sadly she was among many in the leaf that liked him. She was more inclined to sell him out to assassins or a coup should he ever become the Hokage of Konoha. What do you want, monster? Said the woman, glaring at him. I'm here to see the Hokage. It's important, said Naruto, but the woman smirked at him, and just went about working on her nails. Sorry. He's backed up with meetings all day. Come back later, said the woman, which wasn't true in the slightest, but she was 100% sure he didn't know that, and had no way to disprove her. Frowning, Naruto concentrated on using the Force like Plagueis had been doing on their way here to sense the occupants of the Hokage's office, and found it was just the old man in there. He also sensed the woman was lying, as her personal thoughts about him being alive practically being screamed from within her head, and would never let him in unless someone with considerable weight to see the Hokage was with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. You're lying, said Naruto, with the woman turning her head to glare at him. Keep your filthy demon mouth shut. I'm the Hokage's secretary, and if I say he's busy then he's busy. Now get lost or I'll have the Anbu throw you out, said the woman, who saw Naruto frown further at her, and she didn't like it one bit. Prove he's busy. Knock on the door and tell him I'm here, said Naruto, following the Sith Lord's instructions, with the woman looking ready to explode at him and saw her rise ready to strike his face. Steady, my apprentice. Your timing must be perfect, said Plagueis inside Naruto's head while testing the boy's ability to think on his feet while using the Force. Disrespectful brat, said the woman, as she swung her hand down to slap him hard, and hopefully snap his neck. And now, thought Naruto, as he used the Force to dodge the swing, and press the button that unlocked the door mechanism that kept the door locked, he sensed the mean lady used the moment he asked to see the Hokage before rushing for the door. Stop him. Stop the demon from reaching the Hokage, said the woman with the Anbu guarding the door, getting ready to attack the child. When Naruto got close enough, he dove under the 1ANBU's legs, used the Force to turn the doorknob of the door all the way, and kicked it hard to open with a loud, bam sound while skidding into the room. Getting up off the ground, Naruto quickly dodged a shuriken and kunai before diving for the Hokage's desk. What is the meaning of this? Said the Sandaime sternly at the Anbu entering the room with weapons in hand. Hokage-sama, I mean the boy tried to enter unlawfully, and we assumed he was going to assassinate you, said one of the Anbu, who had a bear mask on, and glaring at Naruto behind it. Do you assume me to be weak bear? Said the Sandaime seeing the younger man shake his head no. No Hokage-sama, but the boy, he is still dangerous, said Bear with his fellow guard nodding in agreement. He's not the one in here brandishing weapons, said the Sandaime with the two Anbu quickly putting him away. Our apologize Hokage-sama. We will just grab the boy and then escort him out, said the Anbu with the crane mask. No. The boy will stay. You will leave, said the Hokage with the Anbu looking at each other. But sir, the boy cannot be trusted, and, said Bear, but the look in the Sandaime's eyes told him to shut up, and listen his leader. I'll decide whether Naruto can be trusted or not. Now get out of here before I have you both demoted, said the Sandaime with both men leaving though Naruto could sense they were less than pleased. Thanks old man, said Naruto with a smile though it left when the Hokage gave him a stern look telling the boy he didn't approve. Naruto, why are you here? You should be back at the orphanage like a good boy, said the Sandaime while Kyuubi scoffed in the boy's head. You mean like a good punching bag, said Kyuubi with Plagueis nodding in agreement to that statement. But I don't want to go back. They kicked me out last night in the middle of the rainstorm and I was deprived of food the whole day, said Naruto before his stomach let out a loud growl. I see. I didn't know that, said the Sandaime simply, but in Naruto's mind, the Sith Lord knew that wasn't true, and knew this man wasn't that easy to fool. Follow my words exactly my apprentice. Today's lesson is about learning on how to deceive and use manipulation to get what you want out of people, said Plagueis, as he told Naruto what to say, and Kyuubi just grinned at how this was going to turn out. Old man, I overheard one of the people at the orphanage talking about me, but I didn't really understand it, and maybe you could, said Naruto with the Sandaime looking at him with a raised eyebrow. How do you know they were talking about you Naruto? Said the Sandaime with the boy fidgeting a bit. Well, they always call me Demon Brat, and one of them told the other not to say that when I'm around since they didn't want me to link it to the Kyuubi for some reason. They also mentioned provoking Kyuubi, and teaching the Kyuubi a lesson by going after his human body, along with some other stuff I couldn't hear, said Naruto seeing the Hokage scowl at this. Those idiots. I told them not to do anything that could jeopardize the boy's conditioning to being a loyal weapon to the village. Thought the Sandaime while Plagueis picked up the line of thought to hold for later. I was thinking maybe I should have my own home. Away from the villages that only you know about and could check up on every once in a while, said Naruto with the old man looking like the idea would put a hamper on his plans. I don't know Naruto. How will you eat? I just can't you hunt for food, said the Hokage seeing Naruto frown at him. At least the food I eat in the forest won't be moldy like the people running the orphanage give me. And there will be a lot more to eat too, said Naruto seeing the Hokage letting out a sigh while Plagueis knew the old man was trying not to lose his patience. Naruto, you being alone is not healthy for you, and I can't in good conscience put you in that situation, said the Sandaime Hokage, which made Naruto become angry at him, and it was surprising for the Hokage to see such anger in a child aimed at him. Why? At least being alone is better than being hated, beaten, starved, and treated like I'm a nobody. You think that way too, don't you? You're just like them, said Naruto now crying and pointing an accusing finger at the Hokage. No Naruto I'm not, but, you see Naruto I, said the Sandaime seeing mixture of emotions swirling in the boy's blue eyes and it was almost hypnotic. Please old man. I'm not asking for much. If I don't have my own place, I don't know what I'll do, said Naruto with an empty voice and sensed the Sandaime was thinking this over. On one hand it could ensure his loyalty to the Leaf in time, but given my own workload I won't be able to keep an eye on him all the time like I can now, and there is no guarantee one of my shinobi won't make an attempt to kill Naruto if I assign him to guard the boy when he's there. I could have Weasel watch the boy, given his Sharingan being developed enough to suppress the demon's chakra should the boy tap into it, and he can easily earn Naruto's trust providing food to him while report all the child's activities to me, thought the Sandaime before eyeing Naruto carefully. He's up to something, said Kyuubi knowing the old Hokage wasn't about to let Naruto have his own place and not keep an eye on him. All right Naruto. I'll arrange some form of housing for you, but to ensure your protection I'm going to have one of most trusted Anbu watching over you, and providing food be delivered by him to your home, so looking for food will be unnecessary, said the Hokage while Naruto gave him a skeptical look. Not the ones from earlier I hope, said Naruto with the Sandaime letting out a chuckle. No Naruto. Someone much more skilled and nicer too, said the Sandaime seeing the boy give him a cheesy smile at this news. Thanks old man. You're the best, said Naruto while inside Plagueis was complimenting his student on a job well done in deceiving the old man. I know Naruto. Now that you've given me an excuse to get away from all this dreaded paperwork, let's go out to eat, and then pick out a nice place for you to live in, said the Sandaime while Naruto played his part in being dumb like the old man thought he was. For the next 2 years, life for Naruto had drastically improved, and yet it was still filled with hardship on account of his training under Darth Plagueis in the ways of the Force. It was not easy hiding the training from the Anbu codenamed Weasel on account of his choice in masks, since the Hokage had assigned the man for his protection, which the Sith Lord knew was false, and the shinobi really assigned spy on Naruto to make sure he didn't do anything dangerous. This was further proven by Kyuubi, who had informed with anger in his voice to the both parties that the one guarding the blonde was in fact an Uchiha, and had fully developed Sharingan eyes. Kyuubi further explained that the Uchiha clan's Sharingan eyes, when focused, had the ability to suppress demonic chakra, and could pose a problem later. Fortunately, as the 2 years progressed, the Sandaime had to divert the Uchiha's time away from Naruto to more important issues, and the blonde Sith apprentice pounced on all those opportunities to continue his Force training. The boy had learned quickly under Plagueis, which the Sith Lord had found to be refreshing in a sense, since Sidious was never really like that, and would become frustrated with things he couldn't understand. Some of the things Plagueis had taught Sidious in his early years had been discarded by the young Sith, but Naruto had absorbed everything, and focused on how to use such skills to his benefit before he learned something else. In truth, Plagueis had found the ideal Sith apprentice in the form of Uzumaki Naruto, and had found that his young student was able to endure his harsh training ironically thanks to the cruel treatment of the villagers responsible for placing such hardships on him from the start. Even Plagueis' own teachings, which he had used on Sidious, did little to impede the boy's progress in training under the Sith Lord, and only made the boy get better with each passing moment. Tell me what you regard as your greatest strength, so I will know how best to undermine you. Tell me of your greatest fear, so I will know which I must force you to face. Tell me what you cherish most, so I will know what to take from you, and tell me what you crave, so that I might deny you. Naruto's greatest strength was never giving up in the face of adversity. Naruto's greatest fear was failing his master any test placed before him. What Naruto cherished most was learning from both his teachers. What Naruto craved, well, not even the boy knew what that was considering his age, but there was something there, and for the moment was out of his reach. Still, Naruto wasn't interested in trying to fight for what he craved, knowing there was no point until he had the means to reach it, and decided to be patient. Sadly for Naruto, that was one of his main weaknesses, as he had inherited his mother's impatience when she was a child, and at times it required a bit of an effort to calm him down when things rarely got frustrated. Another thing Naruto was beginning to experience through the Force as the 2 years of training progressed, were visions of the future when he slept, and found them to be a bit unusual if not disturbing. When Plagueis asked about them, Naruto said he saw the very Anbu, who was guarding him, walking towards a large fan-like symbol. The shinobi then pulled out his sword, and slashed it repeatedly until all that remained was a small tainted fragment. Kyuubi explained the fan symbol he saw in the vision belonged to the Uchiha clan, which the Anbu with the weasel mask belonged to, and the vision showed them being completely destroyed all the way down to a small handful. Maybe less than that. We must use this time to our advantage, Naruto. The day or night this happens, you will escape from the village, and head towards a country where we can continue our training. Having the ability to command the Force makes you strong. But I also need to teach you the various sword forms developed over the years used by Jedi and Sith since we first took up such a weapon, said Plagueis seeing Naruto nod. But given the situation that was going to happen with the Uchiha clan's soon to be near extermination, escaping would be a challenge since every shinobi not keeping the village on lockdown would be hunting down Weasel, and the risk of them finding the Kyuubi Jinchuriki escaping would rise in the process. Another test, thought Naruto, knowing that every command Plagueis gave was basically a test for him. Yes, though there is another test you must undertake before completing the other one, my still very young apprentice, said Plagueis with Naruto looking curiously at him. What test, my master? thought Naruto while the Sith Lord smiled at the boy knowing he was eager to prove himself. Your final test before I grant you a Sith name, said Plagueis seeing Naruto's eyes widen in shock. What kind of test, master? Said Naruto knowing this test would be a major step forward in advancing towards becoming a Sith Lord. A test forged in blood, death, and your revenge against those orphanage overseers that made life miserable for you, my apprentice, said Plagueis seeing Naruto's face become filled with anger at the memories that came from his past experiences with the people there. And it wasn't just the adults either, as the kids his age, and the older ones were cruel to him too. Laughing when they locked him dusty closets, beating him up after they talked Naruto into getting him extra food, and then pinning the theft on the Kyuubi vessel so he got beaten up even further. It made the Jinchuriki angry inside, which was what Plagueis wanted from Naruto, and kept the boy feeding on the dark side of the Force to remove any kind of guilt over what was going to happen in the near future. I'm ready, master, thought Naruto while kneeling in his mind in front of the Sith Lord's throne in the room the moon had the boy create to replace the sewer it had once been. No, not yet. First, you need to learn some jutsus to further improve your arsenal in that field, and there is also the matter of throwing off any pursuers once the Sandaime Hokage knows you've fled, said Plagueis knowing his apprentice was ambitious, but had to learn patience, and when to take his tests fully prepared. What about a clone jutsu? There are so many of them I could use, thought Naruto with Plagueis smiling at his promising apprentice eager to pass any test before him and always thinking several steps ahead even if it's on his feet. Clever boy. However, there is only one true clone jutsu out there that is designed for someone of your situation, and very few know it without going to the source of where such a scroll is located, said Kyuubi with Plagueis turning to face the fox. What scroll is that? Said Plagueis with a raised eyebrow. The Forbidden Scroll of Sealing. All of Konoha's most powerful jutsus since the days of the village's founding are written in that scroll. What you are looking for would be the Shadow Clone Jutsu, which makes solid clones of the original user, and everything the Shadow clones learn. You learn, said Kyuubi seeing Naruto's eyes light up. I could learn from you too in half the time. Over a month's worth of training done in a single day, thought Naruto with Plagueis realizing the same thing. But how do we get the scroll? Or to a lesser extent of not getting it, how do we find a proper teacher in the art to show you, and work from there? Such an item is no doubt heavily guarded in the Hokage's office, as he would be its assigned guardian given it holds all the village's secrets, and those that do know it won't exactly be forthcoming in teaching you. We will have to make someone teach you, said Plagueis knowing that was the safest route for Naruto at the moment to prevent the Hokage from ruining their plans for freedom. Who would know such a dangerous jutsu aside from the Hokage himself? Thought Naruto while letting out a frustrated sigh. Just use the Force to guide you, kid. Find your answers that way, said Kyuubi seeing Naruto smirking at the fox. You're right. Thanks, Kyuubi, thought Naruto before using the Force to find his answer and was surprised to once more see the weasel mask Anbu making a copy of himself with ease. What do you see, my apprentice? Said Plagueis while Naruto frowned in thought over what the Force was showing him. I think the Force is telling me to learn it from Weasel, thought Naruto while not understanding answer the Force was giving him. Learning from a member of the Uchiha clan. It turns my stomach. He could hold it over you in exchange for some kind of favor. Those born of the Uchiha clan cannot be trusted, said Kyuubi feeling his rage flaring within Naruto's body. I agree, but we know that this particular person is going to do something horrible, and we use that knowledge against him, said Plagueis already forming a plan for the next time Weasel came by to watch over him. Several days later. Some fresh fruit was added in today's menu of food I've purchased for you, Naruto-san, said Weasel, as he handed Naruto a bag of food, and looked at the nearly 8-year-old boy in front of him. The blonde boy had long since lost the signs of malnutrition thanks to choice of foods the weasel-masked Anbu brought him, as well as the little burst of Kyuubi's chakra when the shinobi wasn't around, and even then the man suspected the fox had done something to accelerate the boy's recovery. Of course, the Anbu could have reported this to the Hokage, but it wasn't really fair to the boy since all the fox did was heal him of any kind of physical problems, and thus didn't require the third's attention. In a way, Weasel had secretly cursed the Sandaime for this assignment, not because he hated the boy, which he didn't, but because the old Hokage was partially responsible for setting everything that led up to this in motion, and Weasel once more wished the Yondaime Hokage was alive to run the leaf. The Uchiha clan was causing problems, which couldn't be solved by peaceful talks, and was distracting him from his current mission to watch the boy properly like the Sandaime Hokage ordered. Granted, the shadow clone jutsu allowed him to be in two places at once, but it only lasted so long, and a strong enough hit to the shadow clone would cause it to disperse. If that happened, red flags would be raised by his family on why he was using the jutsu instead of being there with his family, and question his loyalty to the point where the mission he would have to undertake in the next couple of months could possibly fail. Thanks, Weasel-san. You're much better at being a shinobi than those other guys with masks, said Naruto with his fake happy smile in place while Weasel moved his head slightly to the right. Really? How so? Said Weasel, wondering what the boy saw through his eyes. Oh, they kind of flaunt their position sometimes, trying to pick up women, and basically, get laid, as they joke with each other. I don't see you doing that, said Naruto, knowing the Anbu in front of him was known for making conversation and yet needed it from the man all the same. That is foolish of them. They risk the Leaf's security with their identities being exposed by potential spies, said Weasel, shaking his head disapprovingly at the idea. Tell me, Weasel-san, why are you going to kill your clan? Said Naruto, as his voice had become deadly serious, and made the Anbu go on full alert. How does he know that? Thought Weasel, as he saw Naruto suddenly shift, and become something dangerous. Something deadly. I can read your thoughts. Itachi, I know what you are going to do. I have foreseen it, said Naruto, calling upon the dark side of the Force to do what he commanded. So you know. How exactly? Said Itachi before removing his weasel mask and looking the boy dead in the eye with Sharingan activated. That would be telling, but if the rest of your clan was alerted to your betrayal, things would get out of hand, and that's not your style, said Naruto with a cruel smile on his face. Is this the Kyuubi's influence? Thought Itachi, not sensing any of Kyuubi's chakra from the seal, yet he sensed there was something around the boy. Hardly. Yes, I know about the Kyuubi and I know about the conspiracy against me, said Naruto with Itachi's eyes widening slightly in surprise. Conspiracy? Said Itachi with Naruto frowning and the Uchiha sensing the strange dark energy swirling around the boy that gave him a more menacing form for once so young. Do you think I'm a fool, Uchiha Itachi? I've known since before you were even assigned to watch me. I've known how the old man has deliberately screwed me over to have his own personal weapon for the village by leaving my life to the wolves before bringing it back up marginally so in case I do go crazy he can put me down without a shred of guilt to his conscience, said Naruto, seeing Itachi frowning at him. I don't believe you, said Itachi with Naruto letting out a chuckle. I don't expect you to, but then again you don't want to believe an almost 8-year-old kid, who has had no shinobi training as far as you know, currently has information about the plan to liquidate the Uchiha clan, and at the hands of one of its own no less, said Naruto with Itachi looking away from him to calculate things in his head. What is it you want? You clearly let me know that you know what I have been ordered to do in order to receive something in return for your silence, said Itachi, seeing the boy smirk. You are not the only one who is going to do something, which will be considered bad in the next couple months, and then be forced to flee soon after. I need you to train me in the use of one jutsu in your arsenal. Just one jutsu is all I need from you, Uchiha Itachi, said Naruto, seeing Itachi raise an eyebrow slightly in surprise. Just one. I know quite a few. Not all of them from the Uchiha clan. Why only ask for one? Said Itachi, seeing Naruto smirk. Because none of the other jutsus you have will allow me to avoid my pursuers once the Sandaime sends out every tracking unit to find me, said Naruto, seeing knowing the old man would redirect the units hunting Itachi to hunt for him once they knew he was gone. What jutsu do you want to learn? Said Itachi, sensing the power around Naruto go away slightly. The Shadow Clone Jutsu. Like I said, Itachi, I need something that will help me get away from the Leaf, and ditch the trackers. Besides, consider this your payment to me for when I'm getting all the hunting in off your tail once I go missing, and the Hokage sends everyone hunting you after me. Said Naruto with Itachi considers this information and knows it's true. The Anbu level shinobi may be considered a prodigy among the Uchiha clan, but that all paled in comparison to having the Kyuubi inside the leaf, and turned into a weapon. Itachi knew they would if they caught the boy and decided to do what needed to be done in order to keep Naruto under their control. Very well. Considering your current and growing chakra capacity, you should be able to make a small army of them before even getting winded, said Itachi, seeing Naruto smirk again. That's the idea. I need a small army to scatter outward from the village so it sends them all running circles on potential destinations. By the time they know which direction I did go, the trail will be so cold you could pour water and skate on it, said Naruto, seeing the Uchiha nod in understanding. You didn't come up with this by yourself. Did the Kyuubi help you? Said Itachi with a calculating look in his eyes. More or less, said Naruto, making Itachi looking at him with curiosity. More or less. Does that mean he has another teacher? It would explain that strange dark energy I sensed earlier, thought Itachi, while Naruto now gave him a look of impatience. Hey, I'm waiting, said Naruto, tapping his foot. Patience, young one. Just because the shadow clone jutsu will become easy for you to perform doesn't mean it can be mastered just as easily, said Itachi, seeing Naruto just giving him that confident Uzumaki smirk he had seen before. In Uzumaki Kushina, I'm a fast learner when given the right teacher, said Naruto, with Itachi believing him without a doubt in his mind. If only Sasuke showed half your current potential, thought Itachi, as all his brother did was pester him, and just assumed that power would come easily to him. Konoha nightfall months later. The full moon was blood red in the sky, casting a dark shadow over all in its illuminating form, which was ironic since the moon was never meant to do that, and brought about a dark omen for many that read it as such. It was said people did evil things under the gaze of such a moon, as they killed those close to them, or knew on some deep level. On this particular night, screams of pain, suffering, and death echoed throughout the Uchiha clan district, run entirely by every single person with the clan's blood flowing in their veins. All around, men, women, and children fell at the hands of a single Uchiha of their own blood they did not expect would betray them. His name was Uchiha Itachi. However, the focal point of this dark night was not entirely centered on Uchiha Itachi this night, as another evil was about to be committed by an even younger individual wearing robes, and a hood that covered his face. He wore combat boots, black pants, shirt, shinobi elbow coverings, and gloves with special fingertip grooves specifically designed to hold the hilt of a blade regardless of its size. You know what must be done, my apprentice. Prove yourself worthy of the Sith title I wish to empower you with. Make those that wronged you tremble in fear at the carnage you are about to unleash. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy, said Plagueis, seeing his Sith apprentice marching with a purpose to the building getting bigger in front of him. I will not fail you, master, thought Naruto, as he could feel the dark side of the Force flowing through his veins, and felt the lives of the Uchiha in Konoha dying. Inside the young boy's body, Kyuubi howled in pleasure at the sensation of every single Uchiha in the leaf being snuffed out like the flame on a candle, and Plagueis too felt the dark side shift more in their favor. No doubt the Hokage would send in his Anbu and Junin to investigate what was going on after the report came in about the destruction of the clan. Plenty of time for Naruto to do his own thing, which was the final test to see if the boy was in fact worthy of becoming a full-fledged Sith Lord in the future, and be given his Sith name. Standing in front of the door, Naruto used the Force to open it quickly, and loudly to make everyone in the room jump at the sudden action. Taking a few steps forward, the young Kyuubi Jinchuriki was now in the room that was the kitchen area, where all the orphans, and overseers of said orphans were currently eating. Who are you? Said the matron of the orphanage, who was gray-haired, in her mid-50s, and looking at the robed boy before her eyes widened at the sight of those eyes when Naruto raised his face up more for her to see his face. Hello matron. I'm back, said Naruto with a smirk on his face. You. What are you doing here, demon? We kicked you out years ago. I barely dodged an investigation by the Hokage over your actions. I should skin you alive just for getting me in trouble with him. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't, said the matron while pointing a butcher's knife at him with her much younger aide standing up ready to assist in the act. The children just grinned, knowing the boy they were taught to hate would soon get hurt by the adult around them and were just enjoying the show. Because I'm going to kill you. All of you, said Naruto before moving his hand slightly, using the Force, locked everyone in the room, shutting doors, locking windows, and the blinds on them, concealing eyes from the outside from seeing in. He's using his demon magic, said one of the younger aides while Naruto had a smirk on his face and everyone started to get nervous around him. Just what he wanted. No, not demon magic. Something completely beyond your understanding, said Naruto looking at them now with reddish Sith-like eyes before using the Force again to take the butcher's knife out of the matron's hand, and into his own gloved hand. It was in that instant, all hell broke loose in that building, as Naruto had unleashed all his fury, and power of the dark side of the Force on the people in the room. No one was safe from his wrath, as he stabbed, sliced, and gutted his foes that had made his life miserable. This wasn't just a test for the blonde Sith apprentice, as Plagueis had originally stated, as that was seeing things from a narrow point of view, and the Sith Lord knew this would mean so much more to the boy than just advancing his career in being a master of the dark side of the Force. This was revenge. This was a message to the people of Konoha. It was a message forged out of hatred by them, redirected at him, and meant to inspire fear for the sins they had sown into the boy via their cruelty. The dark side fueled the boy's desire for revenge on him, guiding his blood-soaked gloved hands, as he took the first bloody step towards becoming a Dark Lord of the Sith, and succeeding his master in the Sith arts. When it was all over, not one of Naruto's victims were left standing, as he threw the knife on the ground, and let it sink into the wooden floor. Walking out of the building, Naruto soon found the small lake near the orphanage, which everyone with the exception of himself was allowed to play in, and submerged himself into the water to wash away the scent of blood from his being. After a while, he rose from the water feeling reborn in a sense, as the entity of Uzumaki Naruto was no more, and in his place stood a true Sith apprentice with his new name about to be given to him by his master. "You have done well, my apprentice. I am proud to see you've completed your test in earning your Sith name," said Plagueis, as he saw Naruto's body physically on autopilot going on the mental command to get out of Konoha, and somewhere away from the Leaf Village. "I am honored, my master," thought the young blonde, as his mental image knelt before the Sith Lord sitting on his throne of sorts inside the secret Sith temple that Plagueis called home on Bis. Uzumaki Naruto died in that orphanage along with all the others slain there. He was weak, vulnerable, and would never achieve his dream of being Hokage. You, on the other hand, my young apprentice, are his exact opposite, and will go far in this world. To do that, you must have a new name, which will inspire fear in all those who hear it being spoken, and tremble in your presence knowing you are that man with such a name. From this day forward, you will be known as Darth Sage, said Plagueis, as he found it ironic to give the boy such a name considering the boy's lineage, and the man behind it being a Jedi. It was perfect. Shadow clone jutsu, said Naruto before an army of several hundred clones appeared around him. Okay, Kit, you know what to do, said Kyuubi seeing its vessel nod. Scatter yourselves in all directions, run out of the village, and get far away from the leaf as humanly possible. Don't stop for anything. Dispel one at a time when all of you have reached your intended destination. Go, said Naruto seeing his shadow clones nod and then go off in all directions before he went on his own destination already in mind. To the land of iron. I don't know if this world is technologically advanced enough or has the crystal needed for him to make a lightsaber, but at least at this place, I can show him how to make a sword that will have the power to stand against one, and be unmatched on this planet, thought Plagueis, as he had been looking over the history of this world, provided by Kyuubi of course using the previous two vessels it had before Naruto, and what it knew from them. Can he make such a powerful sword? Said Kyuubi seeing the Sith Lord thinking it over. It's not impossible. I have never performed the means to make such a weapon because a lightsaber seemed much more advanced and simpler to make than a sword of such a caliber. Still, I have long since memorized the means to make one, as it requires speaking in the Sith tongue, and using the dark side of the Force when forging the blade, said Plagueis, but he was confident Naruto could pull it off, as the boy had spent learning the language in his mind while his body slept, and seen his student practice the different forms using a sword the Sith Lord had manifested for him to train with. But it will be a challenge for him nonetheless, said Kyuubi seeing Plagueis smirk at the fox. I would think you of all creatures far older than myself would know by now, my dear friend Kyuubi. Everything I do regarding this boy's training is a challenge, said Plagueis before letting out a small chuckle, and Kyuubi just grinned at him. The next day, the Hokage was worried. No strike, that thought. He was terrified at this very moment after word reached him of the Uchiha clan being completely decimated by Itachi. He sanctioned it, of course, at the last minute after being pressured by the elders, and by Danzo in the end, knowing what would happen if it wasn't done. The only remaining survivor of it was Itachi's younger brother Uchiha Sasuke, and already the people were praising the boy for his survival like he was blessed by Kami. At the moment, the councils and Danzo were trying to use this to their advantage in keeping the boy in the leaf by basically spoiling him silly. To make him so loved by the people, he would have to be stupid to leave the village, and expect better treatment than what they could give him. However, what the councils, clan heads, or even Danzo possibly knew right now was the entire orphanage along with all those residing in it, had been killed. Not just killed. They were slain, butchered, and mutilated in such a fashion that the Sandaime Hokage knew even Ibiki himself would flinch at the sight of it. And the name of the one responsible for the brutal slaying of men, women, and children at the orphanage. Uzumaki Naruto himself. Kakashi had confirmed it with his dogs the moment they were summoned by him, as the Anbu captain knew this had to be kept quiet, and members of the Inuzuka clan couldn't do that considering most of them were well brash. The Sandaime had asked Kakashi to look in on Naruto after what happened with the Uchiha clan, but the man never found the boy in the assigned house, and tracked the Kyuubi Jinchuriki to the orphanage where the bloodbath was soon located before informing the Hokage of it. Could Itachi have been teaching him? No. It's not possible. Even if that were true, Itachi would never have been able to make Naruto that strong, as several adults against one boy, and the fact Kyuubi's power wasn't even sensed there means the seal is intact. The only possible conclusion I can make from this, is that Naruto did it all on his own, but, where did he get the power to do it if not from Itachi, or the Kyuubi itself? Thought the Hokage while finding himself in a dilemma that couldn't be ignored. Once word got out of Naruto disappearing, every shinobi possible would be deployed to find the brat, and then certain measures to prevent that from happening again would be made. Of course, such things were considered a last resort with the boy, but then again this sudden butchery, regardless of the reason behind it, would more than warrant it that such procedures be used, and Jiraiya would have to be summoned to Konoha to do it since he was the only seal master the Sandaime trusted to make sure what was done to Naruto didn't mess with the Shinigami seal. Hokage-sama, said Kakashi, as he wore his Inu mask due to being in Anbu, and stood at attention. Kakashi, did you locate where Naruto was heading? Said the Sandaime since the boy was not with the man, it was clear the brat got away, and currently couldn't be hunted in the correct manner. No. His scent is scattered all over the place. It went from Konoha to every single kind of direction outside the village has and I'm forced to conclude, he used the shadow clone jutsu to make that happen, said Kakashi with the Sandaime sighing heavily at this news. So Itachi did teach him, said the Sandaime sensing Kakashi frowning behind his mask before the Anbu captain removed it. Hokage-sama, why would Itachi teach Naruto that jutsu? What would he gain from it? Said Kakashi seeing the Sandaime was just as puzzled by this information. I don't know. It's possible Naruto talked him into it. Though why Naruto copied Itachi in terms of performing his own massacre I don't know, said the Sandaime, as Kakashi did not know the details behind Itachi's secret assignment, and couldn't say, failed rebellion. This won't be contained for long, said Kakashi seeing the old Hokage nod in agreement to his words. Which is why I need you to put together every available tracking team we currently have in the Leaf and inform them discreetly of the situation involving Naruto. I want them all deployed before the meeting with the councils and the clan heads about this disaster, said the Sandaime knowing if he went into that meeting and explained to them that he had done absolutely nothing would make him look incompetent. That would be all the ammunition Danzo would need to nominate a new Hokage, which would be either himself, or a puppet that could be manipulated from the shadows. The councils will want him marked down in the bingo book, said Kakashi with the Hokage shaking his head no. The bingo book only applies to shinobi and missing nin. Even if we could put him in it, we would need to state why, which means labeling him as the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, and there is always a risk of Naruto telling his intended capturers about his childhood here in Konoha. They could either offer him a place in their village or they could turn him into a living weapon like Iwa or Suna did their own Jinchuriki, said the Sandaime seeing the man in front of him nod. How do you want the teams to handle Naruto once spotted and captured? Said Kakashi seeing the old man's eyes harden slightly. Ask Naruto to come back nicely and only ask him once Kakashi. If he still refuses after that, then they are authorized to cause bodily harm, said the Sandaime seeing Kakashi nod with a slight glint in his eye. I'll make sure they know, said Kakashi before he left the room with the Hokage letting out a sigh and looking at the picture of the Yondaime up above. The man seemed to have a scowl on his face. Don't look at me like that, Minato. What we decided regarding Naruto had to be done and now because of your son's action, a new way to handle him will be put into place. After all that I've lost, you owe me that much, and your son will pay it in your place, thought the Sandaime with a scowl on his face, but all it did was make the Yondaime's face in the picture look even more angry, and the third Hokage finally looked away in the end. One did not compete in a staring match with an angry picture of a dead man and expect to win. Land of Iron weeks later. So this is Land of Iron. Not bad considering how cold it is, said Naruto, or as he would now be known by his master as Darth Sage, while the wind blew fiercely around him. Harsh weather will make you stronger, my student. To endure pain and discomfort will harden your young body to become stronger than it would without such conditioning, said Plagueis, as his apprentice marched into the cold wintry terrain, and the nearest town. Preferably with a blacksmith and a master of the art of forging swords who also in need of an apprentice. The boy is going to be a master of many things and not just what we teach him, said Kyuubi, having sensed the boy's intentions to make the sword he wanted. Yes. Then again, it is to be expected from what you have told me about his family and their unorthodox-like manner of doing things, said Plagueis. Yes. Those of the Uzumaki bloodline were known for thinking outside the box, and this boy is indeed his mother's son, said Kyuubi while looking away from the Sith Lord in thought. Your thoughts betray you, Kyuubi, said Plagueis at last from his throne. I suppose so. I'm just curious as to when you'll tell him about his parentage, and who exactly his father is along with the boy's mother, said Kyuubi, since he agreed with Plagueis in secret to keep that information from Naruto until he was older and his mind was mature enough from their training to handle the strain of this sensitive information. Not for many more years. He's still young, impulsive at times, and such information will make him become too distracted in his desire to get revenge. The boy will have it when the time is right and when his training, as a new Dark Lord of the Sith, is complete, and your own training in using your demonic chakra is finished. Only then will he truly be ready to take his revenge on the Leaf and crush those that would oppose his future rule over this world, said Plagueis, seeing Kyuubi nod in understanding. And by that point, my vessel will be strong enough to destroy you, Madara, and when that day comes I am going to enjoy watching you die. Thought Kyuubi, as he was going to relish that moment, and hear the Uchiha know the true meaning of fear. And that fear would be in the form of Darth Sage, Dark Lord of the Sith. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.